Hello and welcome back to Thomas's Mustache. Today I thought we would do a little bike first impression video. I said in a previous video that I had bought a new bike this year and that I would do a first impression, and I think now is the perfect time because I've just brought it in after a cleaning. Now this particular bike is the Giant Contend. I got a beginner model because it's affordable and I have never owned a road bike before, so I think it's best to start with the basics with road bikes. This particular model has rim brakes here on both sides. No disc for me. That technology is for the future. I've equipped it with 2 bottle cages. I believe when I bought it, it came with none. They didn't have the same color in stock, so I got 2 different black bottle cages here. Overall, I've done about 500 kilometers, nearly 600 kilometers, so I think that it's a good time to do a first impression. Wear and tear on the bike is very minimal. I've been quite cautious about rough handling it. I've been very tender with the bike. Anything to note? I have not noticed any paint coming off. Of course, you know, sometimes you might develop scratches. I have not had any scratches yet. The bike is in perfect condition. As you can tell, I actually love my bike. I do. It is probably the most amazing vehicle. It's so sleek. When I was growing up, everything was just tubes. So now we have all these angles, perfect, strange shaped angles like ovals, and this one here is particularly flat. The fork is this beautiful swept shape. It's almost like a blade. One thing to note is that the handlebar tape that comes with the bike is made of foam. Of course, on any other bike, I think at any higher price range, you're going to get more of a electrical tape sort of handlebar tape. But because it's a beginner model, it has the foam. I'm ready to get rid of it, to tell you the truth. I just need to get to the store. I haven't visited in a while, but it is on my list of things to do. That'll be the first thing I do in the near future, is to remove this foam tape and put on some proper handlebar tape. Now these particular tires are 28C by 700. I believe the bike allows you to go up to maybe 31, 32C. That allows for some wider tires. I have no problem though with the 28s, mainly because I find that although it is a pretty introductory bike, it has some great endurance properties, which includes the back wheel here. It's connected to the bike at a lower area, so you don't feel those vibrations as badly. Sometimes to get that aerodynamic tight fit, you have to sacrifice some geometry. So even with 28s, I go over holes, not the biggest holes obviously, because that'll destroy the wheels, but I go over some pretty good bumps and I don't mind too much. It's a lot more gentle than when I rode a bike from the 1980s, and that thing just shook like crazy. Other than that though, oh yeah, it is tubeless tires, so you're going to need sealant for those tires. There's a great variety, but of course on YouTube you'll see that there's some contention between sealant versus tubes and what have you. Not like aggressive obviously, but you know what's better, what's worse. There's pros and cons for both. Generally the roads that I ride on are very clean. There's not too much broken glass or sharp thorns or anything on the road, so I haven't had a problem yet. Even back when I was riding my bike in the past, I had a mountain bike. I don't think I had to change those tires very often, which was a surprise really. But I suppose I have some good luck. In terms of the setup here, we have Shimano Sora. It's all wired obviously, and no remote control or anything. I would say that Shimano Sora is very good in many ways, especially for a beginner bike. I'd say it's almost ideal. The only problem I have is that I do a lot of hills, and shifting up on a hill, it really makes the bike shudder. It's not very smooth at all when you're going uphill, so you sort of want to gather up your momentum and then anticipate the gear and then shift into that early while there's plenty of momentum, because if you're shifting while you're putting some serious pressure on those pedals, it's going to make a very worrying sound. So I would recommend that you be cautious if you're going uphill. As well, I don't know about these handlebars here, but I at least try not to wrench on them too much as I'm moving. I don't want to pull too much while I'm in the thrall of an uphill, because I do worry about their material. The body itself is made out of an alloy, and the forks themselves are made out of carbon fiber. So generally Giants does, at least for beginner bikes, they try to maintain that carbon fiber fork, and then for the more affordable models they do an alloy. It's super light. Honestly, coming from riding a fair number of bikes, some bikes can be so heavy. So compared to just your regular city commuter like a Dutch style, this is incredibly light. It's probably half the weight, if not less. It is really a breeze. Sometimes when I'm biking and then I get onto a bike path, generally I ride on the roads, but sometimes the bike path has that tiny little bike opening that you have to squeeze through. I just get off and I just pick it up and I lift it right over the little bolliard, or whatever it is, a little pole that they use to keep vehicles out, and it's so easy to just lift up, swing over, and then jump on again. Pretty much everything is stock on this bike, except for the bottle cages. What else to tell you about it? The seat is a Giant Approach seat. It's narrow, coming from, well, not riding hardly at all for years to jumping on a road bike. It takes some time to get used to a road bike seat, but I have no problems with it. I feel no soreness or anything besides getting used to it soreness, but once I got used to it, I can do long rides. There's no numbness, no soreness, which is good, but it's also about the fit. Other than that, I got a bell here. I don't know if that's stock or not, but many bikes come with bells and with these reflectors. I don't have lights currently. I only ride in the day, but obviously I do think that no matter when you ride, you should have a backlight, a flashing red light, because vehicles are not always the most observant. So yes, I do think that is rather foolish of me, but I do not ride at night. I don't think there's a reason to anyways for me. The rim brakes aren't bad. Obviously you don't want to go very, very fast and then suddenly try to slow down. You should anticipate. And you might feel like you're losing a lot of that potential speed, potential distance by reducing your speed while descending, but it's just safer that way. What else to tell you? I'll give you some specs, okay? So for color, we have Sangria red wine. I love the red. It's really fantastic. It really shines so well, especially when you clean it. Obviously, if it gets dusty, it's not so beautiful. The handlebar is a Giant Connect. Let's see here. The handle strap cover is Velo cork tape. Again, that's that foamy beginner tape. I mean, I've got to hand it to Giants. Giant. I keep calling them Giants. I got to hand it to Giant, though. They know that this is a beginner bike. Beginners are going to buy it. Beginners are not used to these hand positions, to these body positions. So as a beginner, I put weight in the wrong places, right? Because the saddle's uncomfortable for a beginner. So you're going to want to put some weight on your hands. And so they put that foam tape on there as a way to cushion that unnatural weight that you're putting on. I very much am very happy that they did that, because that shows that they do care about beginners' well-being. Let's see here. So the seat post is a D-fuse. That's kind of a regular thing for Giant, I think. It does not allow for the most adaptability if you want to swap parts, but if you're just a casual rider, it's no problem. Let's see here. The pedal is a platform pedal, of course. There's no clip-ons for a beginner bike. The shift knob, Shimano Sora. The front derailleur is Shimano Sora. The rear derailleur is Shimano Sora. Let's see here. The brake handle is Shimano Sora. By the way, I should tell you that it is so smooth. Shifting this up and down. Besides what I said about when you're going uphill, you should anticipate. The motion of shifting is just so pleasant and pleasing. That satisfying click, there's no difficulty at all. Again, when I rode a road bike in the past, and it wasn't mine, I was borrowing it, but it had the shifting levers. I don't even think they really invented this sort of technology yet, but it's so brilliant. So let's see here. The flywheel was a Shimano CS HG400. It's an 11x34. What else can I tell you? The chain ring, Shimano Sora 3450. Bottom bracket, cartridge. The rims are a Giant SR3 wheel set alloy. The spokes are stainless. The tire is a 700 by 28C. Let's see here. I'm missing something. I know I'm missing something. Oh yes, here it is. The frame is an Alux grade aluminum, and the front fork is an advanced grade composite and full composite overdrive steerer. So that's my bike first impression. I am trying to branch out, obviously. Branch out in terms of my skill sets. I do a variety of bike rides for my first 500 kilometers. Obviously not super enduro, you know, I'm not going for 100-kilometer rides and I only did 5. I do, on average, 20-kilometer rides. I only ride for exercise. I don't have a kickstand or anything. So I'm not getting off the bike. I'm not parking it and going grocery shopping. I do try various areas, flats and hills, gaining stamina, gaining strength. I do find that it performs very well. It is limited, of course, by being a beginner bike. It is not going to be the lightest bike in the world, but I do think that for a beginner, much of the difference in performance actually comes from your own development, not from the bike. components. Only when you get to the point where you're fine-tuned, I think then it becomes very important to seek out changes in the bike. But for a beginner, I'm perfectly satisfied with the bike. I think it's perfect. I still love it. I bought it in March, I believe, and I rode it. I got into an accident, so I wasn't able to ride for about 1 full month. And also this month I hardly rode at all because the heat has been insane. So whatever the difference is from March till now and minus 2 months, that's how much I've ridden it. What else to tell you about it? I think it's great. I don't pump up to the max pressure. Obviously, I do try to leave some wiggle room in there just in case. I think that that's pretty smart. It's not about speed necessarily or perfecting the numbers. Right now it's just about working on my energy and stamina, increasing those sort of things. What else? When time comes to upgrade, I'm looking more into the endurance side of things rather than the speed and the racing aspect. So I think that most road bike riders need to make that choice pretty early on when they get their beginner bike about which branch are they going to follow. And for me, I think it'll be more endurance, long distance comfort. I do want to ride much further than 20 kilometers. I've done a few 40s, but nothing more than that. For me right now, it's more about quantity than distance. I'd rather do 5-6 bike rides in a week than do one big one. So for me, that's the main thing right now. Other than that, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you ride a bike, I'd be interested to know what type you have. I was coming from a mountain bike sort of background. For most of my life, I rode mountain bikes. I just thought it was time for a change. And I'm happy that I switched to road bikes. I don't own a mountain bike now. I haven't ridden a mountain bike in 10 years, so it's been a bit of a gap, but I'm happy with the change. And obviously there's better videos of the Giant Contend or any bike really, but this is just my 2 cents. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again soon. Toodaloo.